Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our AFL 2023 fixture reaction series. And in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to Collingwood's 2023 AFL fixture. So let's go ahead and hop right into things. Alright, so of course this series is going to be in alphabetical order. So we've already done Adelaide, Brisbane and Carlton. And then obviously teams like Sydney, West Coast and Western Bulldogs will be done towards the back end of the series. But as per usual, let's go ahead and hop right into things. So round one, and I am loving what the AFL has done right here. Fixturing a absolute blockbuster Friday night clash. Now, last year's Friday night clash to open up the season was St Kilda versus Collingwood, which wasn't a bad game in the end as it turned out. But look, I reckon this one, this is going to top it for sure. Geelong and Collingwood. Friday night, packed out MCG. I reckon it's going to be great. Now, one thing that I do want to say, which obviously didn't carry through for the rest of the year, which I can point out right here, is the start time for Friday night. So, obviously this is in my time. This is not going to be Victorian time. This is in South Australian time. But 7:40 is when round one Friday night game started. And then in round 3, and obviously round 2 and every other Friday night game is going to still start the normal 7:50 time. So here I was thinking that they were changing this time, but in the end, no, they are going to stick with the 7:50. But that could be a change made maybe in 2024 perhaps. But anyway, round 1 they played the Cats in a massive preliminary final rematch. And then obviously round 3 from 2022 as well. They played an absolute cracker. So I do feel like there is definitely some unfinished business between these two sides. And could we potentially be seeing 2023 grand final preview right here? I wouldn't be surprised if these were the two teams in the 2023 grand final. Round 2, Collingwood played the MCG again. This time handed the Saturday afternoon time slot to play Port Adelaide at the MCG. Now, not a bad game here, Collingwood versus Port Adelaide, but again, not the best of times, but could be an absolute cracking clash. Now, round 3, they return to prime time, and they've been given 3 very busy opponents, 3 very decent opponents here, all at the MCG to start off their season. 2 of them home, 1 of them away. But yeah, 3 very big opponents, 3 opponents that are definitely looking to make the top 8 or top 4 this season, because you'd be thinking Port Adelaide want to bounce back, and you feel like Richmond will be right around that area as well. Friday night clash round 3, that is a absolute cracker right there. That is going to be a cracking contest between these two teams. 2 very big Victorian sides, and that's going to be a blockbuster game under Friday night lights. Round 4, Brisbane play Collingwood in the traditional Easter Thursday game at the Gabba. Traditional starting time as well, 7:35. But yeah, that's going to be another big clash. And 4 very big teams have been handed in the first 4 rounds. This does not look easy for Collingwood. But if it is any team that will probably do it, it'll probably be Collingwood as well. And I mean, just 4 brilliant games. Collingwood will probably be one of the must-watch teams at the start of 2023. Alright, so in round 5, obviously magic rounds, and it's going to be Collingwood and St Kilda at the Adelaide Oval, and this is going to be a great game as well. Now, both these sides, I can't say are obviously going to be amazing at the Adelaide Oval, and look, I don't blame them, they don't play at the Adelaide Oval. How can you be amazing if you barely play there? That's obviously responsibility of Crows and Port to be good at the Adelaide Oval, considering it's their home ground. These two sides obviously aren't going to be the best at Adelaide Oval, and I reckon that'll produce another great contest as well. I reckon that's going to be another close game. That one cracking game there. And then round 6, the Crackers just keep on coming with this Tuesday Anzac Day game, Collingwood versus Essendon at the MCG. So I think that's a pretty good first 6 rounds for Collingwood and for spectators, which are going to be going to these games and just analysing the season, having a look at these first 6 Collingwood games. I reckon are going to be absolute crackers. They've been given some blockbuster opponents, some blockbuster times, some blockbuster matchups. And now round 7, they travel back to the Adelaide Oval, so they play Adelaide Oval round 5. They go back there in round 7 this time to play the Adelaide Crows. Now, they should probably win this one, especially considering they were literally there just a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, Sunday twilight time slot here for Collingwood. And the reason why they're playing in so many Sunday games after this point, and maybe even before this point as well, perhaps, I mean, mainly after though this point, is because they've got to make up for this this Tuesday game as well. So that does throw a bit of a spanner into the works here for their fixture. You can see there multiple Sunday games coming up in repeated weeks. So we'll go back and have a little look at them. towards the end of the video. So round 8, they play Sydney at the MCG. This is a fixturing surprise here because I didn't think these two teams were going to meet the MCG for a little while longer. But no, that's been resolved. They are meeting back at the MCG again in that 3:20 time slot, which will be broadcasted on Channel 7. And yep, this is going to be an absolute cracker. Sydney are playing in a couple of these Sunday afternoon Channel 7 time slot games, and I think they're going to be absolute crackers, those ones, and this one's going to be no exception of that. Collingwood have played some big blockbuster opponents throughout the season so far, and this is another one of their blockbuster games. Alright, so now to round number 9, and it is another Sunday game here for Collingwood, which we'll go back and have a little look at these Sunday clashes. Another Sunday twilight game, obviously, as I just said a few minutes ago, due to that Tuesday game, they've got to make up these kind of days and all that. It's not quite, I can't really explain it to you guys. It's a pretty tough one to understand, but you'd at least get what I mean by these days. You got to have like a certain amount of days to rest and recover, and these Sunday games is almost essentially a payback kind of thing, or like you're paying up essentially for that Tuesday game. Collingwood versus GWS, this case at the MCG for round number 9. Now round number 10, another Sunday game. They play another Sunday game round 11 as well, but focusing on round 10. Carlton versus Collingwood. Another blockbuster opponent here for Collingwood. Their blockbuster opponents just keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This is going to be another classic, I reckon. Now, Carlton and Collingwood played out into absolute classics this year. The margin being 4 points to Collingwood and 1 point to Collingwood in their clashes in round 11 and 23. So round 11 was 4 point Collingwood win, and round 23 was 1 point Collingwood win, which ended up knocking Carlton out of the finals. So this is going to be, there's definitely unfinished business between these two sides. I feel like these two sides are going to be around similar next season. I reckon Carlton are going to be in that 5 to 8 bracket, and I reckon Collingwood could be anywhere in that 1 to 8 bracket, really. So I feel like these two sides are going to produce another classic game in round number 10. So round 11, it is another Sunday game, obviously, for Collingwood. And this is the final game of their Sunday brackets here. It is going to be Collingwood versus North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. Now, not really much of an interest into this one. This will be the Channel 7 game. Obviously, two big Victorian clubs going head-to-head. But again, though, I feel like this will be a one-sided game. It is at Marvel, which does maybe add a little bit of spice to it, but I don't really see that one in the end being too spicy is in the term that I use. So, just going to go back real quick here and just count up the Sunday games. So, Tuesday game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. 5 Sunday games in a row, going from round 7 to round 11. So that's 5 in a row. And then they're going to be playing some Saturday twilight footy in Perth at Optus Stadium, West Coast versus Collingwood. Obviously, 2018 grand final rematch, which, I mean, look, you don't really have to talk about that anymore because that is long gone. But still, though, if you want to refer to it that way, you can. But also just West Coast versus Collingwood in Perth, which I don't think they played in Perth this year. I can't remember the last time they did play in Perth. I think it might have been 2020 elimination final. So maybe a little while since Collingwood have been to Perth to at least play West Coast that I can remember. And then round 13 is the Monday game, which will be Melbourne versus Collingwood at the MCG. Traditional Queen's birthday clash and Big Freeze game. I feel like it's still going to be referred to as the Queen's birthday clash, considering the life that she did live and her impact on Australian rules footy. She did come around, I believe, and actually had a look at footy as well. So I feel like that's just a traditional thing that probably should stay traditional. And obviously Big Freeze as well. What a absolute cause that is. Round 14 is their bye, and then round 15, obviously this repaying Sunday back again. Collingwood versus Adelaide at the MCG. Round 15, and I'd assume round 16 Gold Coast versus Collingwood Metricon will probably also be a Sunday game. Then the Doggies and the Pies meet in round 17 at Marvel. That's going to be a good game. The blockbusters just continue to come though. Collingwood versus Fremantle at the MCG, Port Adelaide versus Collingwood at the Adelaide Oval, and here we go again. Collingwood versus Carlton at the MCG. This should be another absolute cracking contest as well. And obviously, as I said earlier, this rivalry's got way more to come than what has already been seen. Hawthorn versus Collingwood, Collingwood versus Geelong, an absolute cracking game. Again, great to see these two teams playing each other twice in round 22. Round 23 is Collingwood versus Brisbane at Marvel. As I said in the Brisbane fixture reaction, I do like it when these two sides play twice. I feel like they do have a little bit of a rivalry brewing up as well. And then round 24, traditional way to finish the year in a rivalry, Melbourne, Essendon versus Collingwood at the MCG. So it's not looking too bad for Collingwood here, but I do feel like literally anywhere you look in their fixture and there's just blockbusters, because I feel like they are probably in the finals team with a lot of wriggle room right now as compared to where they can and will finish in 2023. I think it's really that 1 to 8 bracket, which would probably be about Collingwood's range. Everybody does think top 4, but look, I reckon they could definitely do top 4. But I'm really interested to see how they're going to be able to respond from last year, because last year they won all these close games, and if they had have lost these games, they probably would have finished, well and truly outside the 8. But also probably in that, probably roughly like probably 10 to 14 areas. So Collingwood were very lucky last year with those close games. So this year it's whether they extend themselves as a really good side and can really get cracking, or do fall back as one of the not so great sides of 2023. I feel like they can be a big question mark over this team. But look, their fixture's got plenty of blockbusters, and I'm really interested to see whether they can live up to these blockbuster expectations there that they have. But yeah, it's going to be an absolute interesting fixture here for Collingwood. But there we have it. But yeah, I reckon Collingwood are definitely right in that 1 to 8 bracket, if not definitely contending for that top 4. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.